If a lie saves you, do you owe it thanks or a funeral? Stay with me, and we will test that question in your own chest. Night rolls over a city that does not know its own voice. Sirens are thin music and shoes slide on paper flyers. A young woman stands in the square with a cheap megaphone. Her name is Mara, and her hands shake, but her back is straight. The crowd chants a single name like a drum with one beat. They chant Jonah Vale as if he were a brother and a flag. They heard his prison letter this morning and came running. They carry candles and cardboard and tired hope. Here's the bright spark and the dark seed in one breath. The letter is a work of fiction, and the revolution is real. 3 people started it with coffee and guilt and a plan. Iris writes with clean lines and a messy conscience. Colt rides numbers like waves and tries not to drown. Rafi prints truth and lies with the same careful hands. They made a voice that never lived and sent it into the world. They called the movement the Threshold because it felt like a door. The city loved the letter because it sounded like home. It did not ask for statues, and it did not ask for blood. It asked for dignity and bread and light you can measure. The square answers with a thunder of ordinary feet. People feed each other soup and charge phones on long wires. They share blankets and slogans and bad coffee. They sing, and they plan, and they wait for morning. The first twist arrives as softly as a tap on glass. A second letter appears, and it is sharper and meaner.
We are not here to burn, we are here to be seen.
The square exhales like a tired lung and keeps moving. The rumor churn begins, because rumor is the oldest engine. A rival voice online says Jonah never existed. The claim bites because fear loves a mask. Then an old photo surfaces, and it could be him. The pixels are muddy, but the hope is clear. People smile and chant again, because hope is louder. Iris watches the screen and counts her sins. She wanted a small push, and she got a flood. She wanted a sparkler, and she lit a brush fire. She calls the old print shop, and Rafi picks up on the first ring.
I hear the crowd from here, and the ink is still wet.
Rafi laughs without joy and cleans his rollers again. Colt stares at dashboards that purr like well-fed cats. His botnet hums and mirrors the chants across the city. The numbers spin and make him feel strong and sick. He knows he is surfing a wave he did not build. He also knows he started the swell in the dark. The Ministry of Composure issues a kind note at noon.
We thank our spirited youth, and we will listen with care.
The note pats the crowd on the head and calls it progress. The square hates the tone more than it hates the risk. Being managed feels worse than being ignored. The threshold grows because polite control is a slow insult. Mara becomes a voice not because she is perfect. She becomes a voice because her voice cracks and keeps going. Iris sees this and hands her a short page with sharp words.
Cut the fat and feed the truth, then breathe.
Mara breathes and reads, and the square breathes with her. She does not promise miracles, and people trust her for that. The next twist slinks in through a side door. Rafi finds a tiny typo in the third letter online. It is a habit he never has with that font and line spacing. Someone else is writing in Jonah's voice now. The lie has grown legs and is out for a walk. Iris senses a leak moving toward her inbox. A message arrives without a name and without a smile.
Confess by midnight, or we will do it for you.
She stares at the words and feels the floor tilt under her. She writes a draft that admits enough and hides the rest. A correction and hopes it passes. Mara hears typing from the next room and walks in. She reads the draft, and the heat climbs into her face.
If I speak tomorrow and this comes out after, I am done.
Iris looks at her like a mother and a stranger at once.
I am trying to land the plane without losing the passengers.
Mara does not like being called a passenger. She leaves the draft on the desk and steps into the hall. The square still chants the name that never lived. The chants feel like a warm coat and a trap. Colt kills his botnet for 1 long hour. The numbers dip, but the people do not leave. He learns a rule he will not forget because it hurts. A good lie can start a march, but it cannot walk for you. The ministry replies with a billboard in the softest shade. The slogan reads, "We hear you," and the font matches the letter. Raffi sees his own curves on the giant print.
They stole the taste of our lie and served it back warm.
He feels flattered and filthy at the same time. The crowd laughs and then gets louder than before. Humor is a small knife that keeps a crowd awake. Night slides toward the hour of the ultimatum. A drone climbs the sky like a slow moth with bright eyes. It aims at the white wall of a bland government building. Receipts splash across the stone in neat frame. The first draft of the letter shows Iris's clean lines. Raffi's font and his telltale flourish glow in giant size. Colt's seating map pulses with the paths of the first hours. The crowd falls into a silence that tastes like metal. Iris steps up with a mic that whistles like an old kettle.
We wanted time to speak before time ran out on us.
Her line lands heavy and does not bounce back. Mara takes one step and then another and raises her hand.
We were hungry, and someone baked a picture of bread.
People blink because the image is simple and true.
We ate the picture, and it kept us warm anyway.
The square tries to decide if it is angry or grateful. Some turn and walk away with stiff shoulders and set jaws. Some kneel and cry because the shame is a relief. Many stand and stay because the need did not change. Mara does not chase anyone, and she does not beg. She offers a different fuel and a slower fire.
Give me a week and bring me 5 changes we can measure.
The crowd leans in because the ask is boring and honest. Honest and boring is hard to fake and easy to keep. Iris hears the line and lowers her head in a small bow.
You have the mic. Keep it and keep us honest.
Colt wipes a dashboard clean and watches the numbers go quiet.
I will stop playing God with graphs and say sorry with hours.
Raffi stacks blank paper like a mason stacks bricks.
This time I print minutes and names and I sign them.
The Ministry of Composure releases a longer note at dawn.
We welcome constructive lists from our engaged citizens.
It is the tone of a host who smiles while pocketing your coat. The square shrugs and gets to work without asking permission. Neighborhood rooms open and chairs scrape linoleum floors. People argue, and then they write 4 words we can check later. A mother asks for buses that run past midnight. A nurse asks for light in hallways where cameras fail. A teacher asks for windows that open in summer. A cook asks for inspectors who do not take gifts. These are small and plain and hard, like real stones. Mara keeps time and keeps score and keeps her temper. She thanks loud voices and quiet ones with the same care. She does not float on praise, and she does not sink in hate. She writes numbers on a board and draws a box around each. Iris moves chairs and carries water and stays off the mic. She pays a tax to the truth, and it stings and heals. Colt trains volunteers to track promises without tricks. He learns to love the slow climb of real progress. Raffi designs a ledger that anyone can read at a glance. He prints it on cheap paper, and it looks like a map. The first week closes and the square is smaller and better. The media loses interest because quiet work is not bright. That is a gift and a test, and they pass it. The ministry hosts a listening tour with muffins and smiles.
We hear the 5 items and will respond in due course.
The crowd no longer waits for a parent to clap. They track the 5 items and update the wall and move on. 2 items change within a month without a ribbon or a song. The buses run late and the cameras glow in dark corridors. The other 3 take longer, and that feels like life. People get tired, and then they rest, and then they return. The threshold keeps its name and loses its costume. The museum accepts a donation with very clean glass. The letter that never existed sits under a soft light. The plaque reads a beautiful lie that loaned us its legs. School groups file past and whisper in low voices. A child asks who wrote it, and the guide smiles.
The city wrote it, and then the city wrote the next part.
Mara visits the case alone one morning before the doors open. She looks at the curved lines that taught her to stand tall. She thanks the letter without words and lets it rest. Iris joins her with a coffee that does not taste like guilt.
I wanted to protect the crowd, and I almost broke it.
Mara nods and does not add salt to a healed cut.
We cannot borrow courage forever because interest is high.
Colt arrives late with a folder and a sheepish smile.
I made a new dashboard that measures boring wins.
Ruffy pushes the door and brings in a stack of forms.
These are sign-up sheets for what comes next.
They laugh because paperwork might save more lives than a speech. The city grows a little less dramatic and a little more brave. The Ministry of Composure learns a quiet lesson the hard way. Soft control fails when people learn to read receipts. The rival vlogger moves on to juicier ghosts. The square remains a public room you can enter without fear. This does not make a headline, but it makes a life. Now we walk back to that opening question together. If a lie saves you, do you owe it thanks or a funeral? You owe it a headstone with the right date and no excuses. You owe yourself a path that can stand in hard daylight. The lie can start your march, and only the truth can pay for shoes. Keep that line in your pocket when the next bright story arrives. Ask what it costs, and who pays, and how to settle the debt. If it passes those checks, carry it for a while and set it down. If it fails them, let it die without drama and move your feet. I will leave you with one more small thing for the road. Courage that depends on costumes is stage fright with better music. Courage that depends on facts builds doors that do not lock behind you. People can forgive a trick if the bill is paid in full. People will not forgive a trick that asks them to live inside it forever. The threshold did not become perfect, and that is fine. It became useful and honest and slightly boring. That is how you know it is strong enough to carry you home. Thank you for staying with me until the end of this story. If you liked it, please tap like and subscribe and leave a comment. If you want to support this channel, please use the QR code on the screen or the link in the description. You will also find links to other series that live in very different worlds. I hope you will watch those next, and I will see you in the next one.